Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the DG Hamblin Show. For those of you who have been following along on our reporting of possible corruption, the allegations thereof, at the Poulin, Georgia Police Department and the treatment of our whistleblower, John Masters, this is the latest in that series of videos. If you have not seen the others, please go to the channel page and watch them. They are quite eye-opening. John came back in to talk with me about the file review being conducted by Georgia Post, the agency responsible for overseeing the certification of law enforcement in the state of Georgia. They've been conducting a file review which has now taken more than 2 years, which seems to me to be an extraordinarily long period of time for such a thing. I have reached out to Georgia Post and have yet to get any official comment from them, but we are hopeful. Enough of me talking. Let's go straight to the interview. Welcome back. We are here once again with my good friend John Masters. And John, just fill us in what has been going on lately.
Quite a bit. Got a phone call.
Okay,
from someone claiming to be with the Worth County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. What did they want?
They said it was imperative I call them about. I saved the voicemail.
Okay.
Imperative I call them about some legal documents I may or may not know nothing about.
Okay.
Not exactly quoting it, but the speech pattern. They gave me a Nashville number to call.
Okay, so
Worth County is in South Georgia. Worth County is a 229 number, so I don't know why they're giving me a Nashville, Tennessee number to call. But
right, and that's the number when we looked it up. But it's basically like a Google Voice type number.
Yeah, it's not even
computerized.
But whoever this is at the Worth County Sheriff's Office, they claimed it was their business line.
Okay, that's interesting. And so did you call them back? No, I don't blame you.
I wasn't going to. If it's real, they'll either show up with a subpoena or splinter my door, one of the two. So
right, and this call came after the last video.
Yes,
correct. Okay, so what do you think that might have been about?
I can theorize. I can guess. Honestly, I don't know.
Right.
I've had other people call me and go, tell me they're trying to intimidate you. They're trying to. I don't know who they is. And I don't know why the Worth County Sheriff's Office would be involved in what the Poulin Police is doing.
Right, and there's no way of knowing if this person
is actually worth the Worth County Sheriff's Office or not.
Right. So it could have been any random person who somehow got your number, your information, and gave you a call. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a little strange to have happen.
Right.
One of those Occam razors moments where it's like simplest answer is probably the most explanatory, probably the correct one is like either someone feels a little called out,
right,
or they're trying to shift attention somewhere else.
Okay. And so, but it's been a few weeks, so you certainly you found a job already, right? You've gone to work for an agency here in Georgia someplace.
No.
All right. So what's going on? Because they were supposed to have this all cleared up already by now. I mean Georgia Post. Your file review was supposed to be over and done.
According to an email from the certification director, yes, it was supposed to be done in September when the full council met.
Okay. And that didn't happen?
No.
Okay. So do you know what did happen?
I sent an email the day after when the full council met. Full council met September 4th. I sent an email to the investigation director September 5th, and I got a reply that said it hasn't even been seen by the probable cause committee, and it won't be seen until October, so I'll probably still be under file review in 2025. I'm assuming because the next time the full council meets is apparently in December.
Okay. Because they meet every 3 months. Okay. And I've tried to reach out. I've not gotten a response yet. Maybe one will come in. If one does, then we'll talk about that. But I've tried to reach out to find out from somebody what is going on and why is it taking this long.
I've actually had other police officers I've talked to who know me, who have told me they have never heard of a file review going past 24 months.
Yeah, I've known full-blown investigations which have been started and completed with officers being sanctioned that didn't last nearly this long. And
Right.
It seems like there shouldn't be anything left to investigate here because Pullen has they sent in a change. They now consider you having voluntarily resigned.
Should have been the easiest file review to
So-
end.
Right.
One less the investigator had to worry about. I mean, from my perspective, if I'm investigating something and the party that told me, hey, we terminated this guy, we need you to investigate him, then turns around and says, our bad, we actually made a mistake, we need to change this to a voluntary resignation, we may have some liability here. That would tell me, oh, that's one less I need to worry about. Let me just go ahead and end the file review because there's nothing going on here.
Okay, this reminds. I'm going to put this. I'm going to make an analogy here, or relate this to a case that I remember seeing. Their video evidence was there. It was on another channel. But what happened in this instance was a manufacturer, which makes this company makes some sensitive material. They accused one of their workers of stealing an item. They said he was supposed to take it and mail this item to a customer, and they claimed he did not. And they called the police, and the police came out, and because of the value, it was a felony, I believe, and they went ahead and made an arrest. And on the way to the jail, lo and behold, the company found the item. The guy had, in fact, done exactly what he was supposed to do, and somebody somewhere made a mistake. And so they made a quick phone call. Although you technically cannot unarrest somebody, they brought him back to work and unarrested him, and turned him loose.
I think I know what you're talking about. And didn't he end up suing?
He ended up suing, and
both
he
the police
won.
department and
and he won because they really they hadn't done their due diligence at all in trying to determine if he had actually stolen anything or done anything wrong.
Is this the one with the rifle?
It was some parts.
Yeah. And the police department asked for summary judgment, and the when the judge wrote the opinion on why he was not doing summary judgment,
right,
I can imagine the judge was laughing when he wrote his opinion on why he wasn't granting summary judgment. Like, you're lucky you're not being charged with kidnapping this dude right now.
Right. Yeah, and so I see some similarities between that and this, because here it's like, oh, oops, we made a mistake. Now, Pullen has done their part in where they have called and said, hey, we made a mistake, we need to unarrest this guy, so to speak. But Post is like, no, we're going to continue on and just keep holding on. So it makes me wonder why.
I had one of the recruiters of the agencies that I had applied to said, this is ridiculous. I don't understand this. So you have large agencies in the metro Atlanta area that are confused.
Right, and they deal with post-investigative stuff all the time, probably. A large department is going to. So then it makes me wonder why. And I heard somebody say once, or it's a fairly common saying, I guess, that you should not ascribe to bad intent what you can ascribe to incompetence. I suppose this could be incompetent, and maybe it is.
At first,
but it also is starting to give me a little bit of a flavor of maybe somebody is trying to use a process as punishment.
At first, I believed that there was incompetence at Georgia Post based on these emails based on the interactions I was having with the post investigator and with the certification director. When the investigations director emailed me back after I sent the email on the 5th, I have shifted from incompetence to this is blatant.
Okay, so that's your belief.
This goes back to the culture. Once you hit a certain rank in Georgia, it's okay for you to lie, and you will be protected when you lie. But if you're a rank and file and you make a mistake, even a minor mistake, you will lose your career, you will lose your job, you can't feed your family, you will be labeled however they need you labeled.
Right, but you're making it sound like you made a mistake,
and that's the issue here.
And maybe you made a mistake in that specific instance with that specific department, what might have been the best thing for you to do personally, but you didn't do anything wrong. You did what you would hope any officer who's worth his salt, who has any integrity or credibility would do. You see something is wrong, and you just ask some questions. What is going on here?
And I will be honest with you, it continues to be put out that I was the one who confronted the police chief that night.
Right.
The other officer adamantly has made it very clear that he is the one who called the police chief that night.
Right.
I have heard a version from a former employee who's a volunteer firefighter at the city of Bowling. He told me that the assistant chief told him that not only was the other officer not in the room that night, but that the assistant chief was in that room that night, and that I confronted the police chief and that he was there. So it has changed versions so many times. The version has changed over and over and over and over again to where I can no longer keep up. And then I interact with a post investigator who tells me there will be no investigation. I need to send him a statement. So I do all that. And then the certification director signs a form letter to another state telling them I'm certifiable in that state, and does not mention the file review at all. So on paper tells that other state I'm in good standing. Then that other state, when I go to tell them the truth, has to DQ me because they're going,
right.
Why is the applicant the only one telling the truth? No offense, we're going to have to DQ you, figure this out, fix it, come back. We very much want to hire you. Your skill set is very much in demand. You have fields, you have A-RIDE, you have interdiction experience, you have interdiction training. You have interdiction training in and out of state. You have NHTSA training. You have, I'm well over 900 hours. I think I'm coming up close to 1,000 hours in 6 years of law enforcement of training.
Right, it's pretty quick. Yeah.
So they're looking at me and they're going, well, we absolutely want to hire you. We cannot understand why your post is so openly having issues with the truth. Why would they not just say, hey, he's under file review?
Mm-hmm.
No. That, I guess in my mind, that would make sense, that they would tell another state, hey, he's under file review. While he is employable, we need to tell you he is under file review. I have heard different versions from different agencies. One where they cannot get Post on the phone. Post will not answer not answering emails, phone calls. No, I don't exist to Post. I don't exist to Poland. I barely exist to Oglethorpe. Hartwell won't even confirm I breathe air in their city.
Right.
One state sent them email after email after email after email. I sent Hartwell email after email after email after email. Please just cooperate with the background investigator. You don't have to talk to me. You talk to the background investigator. He refused.
Huh. Right. And so now this really doesn't make any sense, and it's hard to wrap your head around.
It is difficult even other officers are going, I don't understand what, the only reason an agency would do that is if they did something wrong and their attorney, city attorney, county attorney, told them, you can't have contact with this guy ever again. And you should have told me about this.
Right.
These are other officers telling me they're scared.
And
they're frightened because they did something, and
yeah, it's a defensive mechanism, right? They made a mistake. They know they made a mistake. They're like a turtle is pulling its shell.
And that seems to be normal in Georgia. Say nothing, do nothing. If an agency or a police chief, I have noticed this, makes a mistake, they turtle up so fast and just hope that nothing will happen to them. That's not how life works.
Right.
So there's a point where I went from, I think this is incompetence at Georgia Post, to now Georgia Post has a serious cultural problem.
What do you think that cultural problem is?
I think they've got an issue with when an agency, specifically a police chief, tells them something, they want to believe it so bad,
right,
that despite any evidence to the contrary, they will do the desires of that chief. The Poland police chief does not want me in law enforcement ever again. He has made that very clear. He is on audio saying that. He is on audio when he was firing me, telling me if I did not voluntarily resign, he would tarnish my post record. I am now seeing where he's making good on his threat. He has connections into Georgia Post. I'm assuming through Georgia Associations of Chief of Police, where he is able to manipulate and control what Mike Ayers, director of Post, can do.
He can't control Mike. He's not going to control Mike Ayers, but if he had some friends over there and had some influence, then he's going to be able to convince his.
I would have agreed with you 4 months ago. The issue is Mike Ayers has been CC'd in all these emails.
Right.
So clearly not as independent as he would like people to believe he is.
Perhaps, or perhaps he's. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second, because perhaps he sees them and goes, okay, well, this guy is taking care of that. This investigator or director of investigations, they're taking care of it, so I can take care of these other things. And so maybe he didn't even.
When you're CC'd in that many emails, at what point did you turn around and go, just for argument's sake, just so we can make sure, not micromanaging you, and just asking, can you explain this to me, please?
Right. So,
just take 30 minutes and explain it. Okay. Did you think we need to call the GBI and maybe have this guy, because he's on audio saying he called the GBI and the DA's office and started an investigation. No one from the GBI has contacted me, and no one from the chief DA's office has contacted me.
But you're talking about the chief in Poland,
right?
Claiming that there was investigations, and he never did that. He lied.
At some point, you have to sit there and go, okay, for argument's sake, let's just pretend that maybe this one time, for whatever reason, the Poland police chief did not handle this situation correctly. Spend 30 minutes and just explain it to me.
Okay, right.
I'm not micromanaging my own investigators. I'm just asking you, would you please explain why this guy keeps CCing me in all these emails? Because clearly he wants me to be aware of it. So I'm the director of Post. He needs me. He is waving a red flag. Hey, you need to know what's going on.
Okay.
You need to know what's going on. If I was a director of Post, I would go, just explain it to me. Okay. And then after I had it explained to me, because in one of these emails, the Google Drive link was sent again.
Right.
So if I started reading even the first little bit, I'd go, okay, so let me get with my investigation director.
Right.
And let me get with the investigator, explain it to me. Spend 30 minutes, break this down, just explain it to me. Let me just make sure, on the off chance the police chief actually did this. Just
Okay.
explain it to me.
Okay.
And then
Let's
after
suppose
that
he did that. Hold on.
explanation,
Let's suppose that he did that. And then let's say that the investigator knew the chief, and so he's, running interference for the chief, and so he gives him what seems to be somewhat of a plausible explanation. And then what do you think Ayers should have done?
I don't know. I know
I know
what
what
I
you-
would have done if I was
Right.
in his position.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And what would you have done?
Okay, no offense. What you're telling me is not matching up
Okay.
to audio and documentation. So you're off of it. You're no longer handling this investigation.
Yeah.
We're going to have someone else from another district who is not so connected to this take this
Sure.
over.
Yeah.
And because of the criminality that is clearly present, at a minimum, tampering with evidence
Right.
and a false statement, we're going to have the GBI come in. So you're going to have your phone scrubbed, and we're going to find out exactly what you did. Not your personal phone, the phone we gave you, your laptop. We're going to find out what your involvement is. If you got nothing, if you didn't do anything other than you just happen to know this police chief, you got nothing to worry about.
Right.
But if you did something,
Yeah.
now is the time to tell me. We can lessen this. And I would have point blank asked that investigator,
Mm-hmm.
if I need to click this button and end this file review and protect the counsel, now's the time to tell me. Because if it comes out later that I had to call the GBI, we're going to have some issues. Forget about your job. We'll be going in a totally different direction. So if you're lying, now's the time to say it. Now is the time to say something.
Okay.
Because there will be a point where this will get beyond our control.
Yeah.
And it will be unmanageable.
Right.
And you may have absolutely 100% gotten what you wanted.
Sure.
This guy's out of law
Yeah.
enforcement.
Right. That's what John Masters would have done. And I'd like to think that I would have done something similar. I've at least taken a peek at this, having that many. But
I've spoken to enough other cops who have said pretty much the same thing, is that they're going, at some point, yes, their objective was achieved. You're out of law enforcement. Now it looks like they may be joining you. Some of these guys may be joining you. They'll never have a career in law enforcement again.
right.
When you send an email in Georgia, you're making that email public record.
Right. Yeah. Right. So
Careful
Yeah,
when
we
you
don't-
type.
right. Speaking of emails, you have some here, I think, that have to do with this that you wanted to read, and we'll put those up, and we'll also we'll try to insert the some of these audio recordings you've got in this as well, so that our audience can listen to those and kind of make a determination for themselves what they think. So
This was sent in July. This was after a form letter from South Carolina was signed by the certification director.
okay,
Didn't mention anything about the file review.
okay,
All it said was I was certifiable. So it makes me look like I'm in good standing,
sure,
to the point that South Carolina believed I was in good standing with Post.
okay, okay.
They had
sure.
no clue about the file review.
Right. Okay.
I had to tell them.
All right. So what's in this email?
So I sent the email and I CC'd the email was sent to Terry McCormick, and I CC'd the
Yeah.
Post director, Mike Ayers.
And who is Terry McCormick?
He is the certification director for Post.
Okay.
I CC'd the Post director, Mike Ayers, the investigation director, Alex Mears, the actual investigator, Douglas Dowdy. And then I
Okay.
CC'd myself to make sure the email went through.
Okay.
And I say, "Good morning, Mr. McCormick. My name is John Masters." And I inserted my OK number in there.
Okay.
"I was reaching out for clarification on my Post status in the state of Georgia. You recently signed a letter to South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy informing them that I was certifiable in South Carolina as a peace officer, but I am still under file review in Georgia. I am clear that my post account says that I am employable, but the file review has made me unemployable in the state of Georgia. Several agencies in Georgia have told me that they would like to hire me and have me on hold in their processes while they await the results of the file review. I was terminated from Poland for, quote, at-will employment, close quote, with no discipline or actions on 6/28/2022, which prompted the file review. The city of Poland sent Post a letter changing the, quote, termination, close quote, to, quote, voluntary resignation, close quote, on 1/29/2024. I did make contact with my assigned post investigator on 3/13/2024 as to the status of my case, which had been ongoing. His response, and this was audio recorded,
Okay.
his response was that the investigation had not been initiated and that there would be no investigation.
Okay.
I am asking, is there an end to the file review any time in the near future? This file review has been ongoing for over 24 months, which is hampering my ability to find employment in the state of Georgia as a police officer. This is in turn forcing me to seek employment outside of the state of Georgia and explain to each agency outside of the state of Georgia that I apply with the details of what is occurring. The below link is a detailed collection of events that have occurred related to my termination from the city of Poland and the police chief's criminal activities. And I inserted the Google link
Okay.
and then signed off respectively.
Right. Okay.
He responded
All right.
July 3rd, 2024,
Mm-hmm.
and CC'd the post director, the investigation director, and the post investigator in his email. So he
Okay.
replied to all.
Okay.
So the post director saw this reply. Mr. Masters, I spoke with the director of investigations. That's Alex Mears.
Okay.
I spoke with the director of investigations, and your case has been closed and will be presented to the probable cause committee, who will then make a recommendation to the full post council, which will meet in September, and they will vote on your certification status at that time.
Okay. And this is September. Okay.
Therefore, the current status of file review, quote, file review, close quote, will remain in place until the process is complete. Any further request on your status should be directed to the Post Investigation Division. Director McCormick.
Okay.
So, September 4th, the full Post Council met. On the 5th, I sent another email to the Investigations Division.
All right.
It was sent to the investigator, Douglas Dowdy, the director of investigations, Georgia Post, Alex Mears, Terry McCormick, because he was involved from that first email,
Sure.
and the director of Post, Mike Ayers. To whom it may concern, I was previously told that my file review decision would come to a conclusion today during the council meeting. I was unable to attend the meeting via Zoom, and I am requesting to know if my file review was discussed and what decision was made. Respectfully, that was sent September 4th at 8:55 p.m.
Okay.
On September 5th, Alex Mears responds back at 2:43 p.m. And Alex Mears CCs my post investigator, Douglas Dowdy, the certification director, Terry McCormick, and the post director, Mike Ayers.
Oh, all right.
Mr. Masters, your case has not been heard by the council yet. Your case should be in front of the probable cause committee on October 15th. You should be able to check with investigator Dowdy after that date as to the status of your case.
That's all he says?
That's it. So we go from September, according to Terry McCormick, the investigations director. He said, I spoke to the investigations director. It will happen in September, whatever they decide. And now it's
And then the director now tells you another story.
changed.
Yeah.
This is where I went from. This is no longer incompetent.
What was the email you sent to the certification director?
That was in July.
That was in July. So if the pattern is the same, if the probable cause committee hears in October, those cases which will be voted on in December, then in July, the probable cause committee should have heard your case to make a recommendation for it to be voted on in September. And they didn't vote on it because they didn't get it. So either they, I guess there are a few things that could have happened. Either they've simply made a mistake in telling you that it would be voted on in September, or it was for some reason it got held up innocently, or for some reason it was held out intentionally.
I don't know anymore. I can't tell the difference.
Right. What doesn't make sense to me is
Even-
that something
even
which
other-
is this easy, this cut and dry.
And that's where even other cops are I shared these emails with other police officers, and they're going,
Right. If these were criminal
No.
charges before a judge, and the judge, it's clear it's going to be dismissed. The prosecution has said that they're going to dismiss the charges, and they're going to take it before the judge at the next court date, and then they show up and they don't even present it. It makes you wonder. I mean, because these kinds of easy little things, man, clear out your file,
this is
get it
easy.
off your desk. Why do you want it hanging around?
This is easy. I have had other police officers tell me that after looking at everything on the Google Drive, they're saying, how would that even go to a probable cause hearing?
Right. I don't understand either.
There was, especially after the city sends a letter to Post.
Okay.
Hey, we're going to change it to voluntary resignation. We agree with the wrongful termination. We want out of this.
Right. So I'm also thinking about it was said in one of those emails that there would be no investigation.
And that's on audio with the Post investigator. He said there is no investigation by the GBI in the DA's office,
Okay.
despite the police chief telling us. Even when I was being fired, he confirmed it. Yes, I did. I said that. I told you that. When I walked in there to be fired, his words to me were, everyone and their mama knows about this now. Then he told me there's an investigation into this. An investigation into what? I don't know.
Okay, wait. So, but that phone conversation, who was that with again?
The phone conversation I recorded was with the Post investigator, Douglas
Okay.
Covey.
And he's the one who told you there would be no investigation.
No, there will be no investigation by GBI or DA's office.
Okay, then why does a simple file review need a probable cause hearing?
I don't know. And
I
I've
don't
had
know
enough
either.
police officers tell me that is unheard of.
I mean, it sounds like they did some kind of an investigation. If
According
for
to
no other
According to the
reason,
certification director, it's closed
right.
based on information he got from the investigation
Right.
director.
This whole thing is all there's so much contradictory information.
So either the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing, or it's coordinated. One of the two.
Right. So let's just suppose that the
I would
the
like
investigator who told you that there would be no investigation, let's just suppose that for some reason he decided that he wanted to help a friend out. I'm not saying this happened. This is purely speculative.
purely speculative.
But let's just suppose that he wanted to help a friend out and kind of stick it to somebody. He could tell you there's no investigation, and then he could
Sandbag.
open one,
Yeah.
just for the purpose of having that extra step of a probable cause committee hearing. And maybe they do those for every case. I don't know. but it doesn't make sense to me why.
I've had
You would
people
have to have
in
one.
training divisions at other departments say they don't.
Yeah. I mean,
I had one give me an example where an employee at his sheriff's office had been arrested for driving for no insurance.
right.
I don't understand why that's not a fingerprintable offense. I didn't think it was a fingerprintable offense, but she was handcuffed, taken to the jail.
Okay.
Because she worked in their jail, she had to report the arrest because she's post-certified. She's a
Right.
post-certified jailer.
Mm-hmm.
He told me when he went to call post,
Yeah.
and they looked at it that day, they said, "Oh no, yeah, our bad, yeah," and they clicked the button and ended the file right then. No probable cause, and that lady was arrested.
Huh. Wow.
So even he's going, this is not how post normally functions. He's been in a training division for a long time.
Right.
And he's sitting there going, this is unheard of. 24 months and beyond for a file review. Either post is that incompetent or there's something else going on. Now, I will be honest with you. I would very, 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 very much like to believe that these three people are just incompetent.
Yeah.
I'm clinging to that hope. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe the last 2 years has been rough on them. The last 24 plus months has been really rough on their personal lives. That I just accidentally found the three people who have been through multiple trials and tribulations. Jesus is working on them really hard. They've been handed a lot of stuff, and it's really impacting their work environment. And that just the stars aligned, and I found the three people who just got so much going on with their personal life right now that, by golly gee, it's really impacting their ability to do their jobs and function within the parameters of the Post Act.
Right.
I am clinging to that hope that, for whatever reason, Mr. Dowdy, Mr. McCormick, and the investigation director and the certification director, that these three people, they're just having a rough time. Life is sucking. They lost a family member. The car got totaled. That whatever it is, that it has affected them over the last 24 months to such an extent that they're unable to function in their job.
Right.
And I'm really, and if that's the case,
Mm-hmm.
I would like, if they end up watching this video, I'd like them to hear it from me. I'm so sorry for these things that are going on in your life right now. You need to go get some help.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that help is, you need to turn your workload over to someone else.
Right.
Now, if that's not the case,
Mm-hmm.
you need to go turn yourself in. Either way,
Right. Yeah.
the workload needs to be pulled from you. Either you're having a rough time in your personal life and it's now affecting your ability to function as a state officer,
Right.
or you're doing this on purpose. Now, again, I want to make it very clear. I honestly believe, despite the post director being CC'd in this email, he does not know what is going on. He is
Right.
completely ignorant.
I would assume the same thing.
Yeah.
But
And that these
Yeah.
three individuals, I honestly believe something is going on in their personal life. It's affecting their ability to do their jobs. And it just happened, the stars aligned. These three individuals happen to all be interacting with what I got going on.
Yeah.
And again, I'm so sorry that's happening to you.
Right.
Please give your workload to someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. No, I get it. Yep. And we can pray for those folks. Maybe whatever they have going on, we'll
Absolutely.
get straightened out.
But it does raise questions.
Sure, it does. And we hope that all this settles out quickly. But the soonest it could be now is December.
Right. I would hazard to guess in January of 2025. Seeing how this is working, I will still be under file review.
I hope not.
I now believe the what I'm seeing as I finish this waiver process with this other state. I will be in that state. I will be working as a police officer in that state. I will retire from that state, and I will still be under file review in Georgia. Based on what I'm seeing. And I don't mean to make light of that, but I'm actually sitting here going, I think if they could kick their feet up and get away with it, they probably would.
Like the song that never ends.
It is. I have had multiple police officers, in state and out of state, flabbergasted. I'm sorry, we have to DQ you.
Right. And there are going to be people out there who are going to go, there's got to be something wrong with this gentleman. There has to be some reason why they're doing this. There doesn't have to be. No.
I had one of the recruiters from out of state say, I am so sorry.
Yeah. I mean, because they can.
We appreciate your honesty, because Post did not say anything about this file review, but you were being honest, and we really appreciate that. I have to DQ you because of the file review.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I understood, but he was shocked. He even said to me, I have never seen this before.
Right.
Where the applicant is more honest than the Standards Council of the state.
Yep. Yeah, that's rare, I'm sure. Well, we're going to keep following up with this. Hopefully, I will hear something back from Post, and I'm still trying to get a response from Pullen. I'd like to at least get a no comment, but I get nothing. I check my inbox and there's nothing there. Full of crickets. So, but we're gonna keep this up, and hopefully, somewhere at some point in time, this gets settled properly. And I really hope that if this is purposeful, I hope they get it straight. If this is not purposeful, if this is just due to some kind of logjam or some kind of incompetence, I hope they get that straightened out as well, because this is not fair to good people. Now, granted, there are plenty of bad cops out there who screw up and get caught, and they shouldn't be certified. But when you have somebody who is as good an officer as you've been, and is as completely honest about everything as I have known you to be for the years I've known you, there is no reason for this to still continue. There's no reason for it to be difficult for you to get a job here in the state of Georgia. And if we end up losing you to another state, well, then that reflects poorly upon Georgia and the way things are done here. That's my opinion.
I will say, too, this process has now made me appear as a wandering cop or a gypsy cop.
Sure.
And I don't want to use the term gypsy cop in a derogatory word, because I know there are travelers out there who would be offended by that word, but it's a word that's used in the law enforcement community. So if there's a traveler listening to this, I don't want you to be offended. They're using that term, gypsy cop, meaning wandering cop, a cop who bounces from department to department to department. My plan was to stay at Poland for a long-term time,
right,
until this happened. So when I went to the next
you
agency,
wouldn't have bought a house in the area.
I had bought a house, right? I was planning on staying.
Yeah. The same thing when you came here, right? You bought a house here.
I bought a house here. So when it followed me up here, I was in shock.
Yeah.
So it is where I have been forced to do the things that make me look like a wandering cop, or as the law enforcement community calls it, a gypsy cop. And again, if any travelers are watching, that's a term law enforcement uses. I'm not using it offensively towards travelers.
Right.
But I'm not actually a wandering cop. No. I bought a house with the intention of putting down roots. I have 5 children. My middle child is in JROTC in the community here.
Right.
We were doing the same thing down there in Worth County.
Sure.
My youngest child would, after school, after my other children got home from school, my wife would take them to the park in Poland.
Yeah.
There was a big park right across from the city hall, and she would go play and
yeah.
We were doing business in Poland. We were eating in Poland.
Right.
I felt like I was a part of the community of Poland. But the process has now turned me into where now I'm labeled as a wandering cop. And in actuality, I'm not.
Right. Oh, and I know that. I'd be happy to tell anybody that who would ask me. Anyway, so let's we won't schedule another time to talk just yet, but as things come up, we will be back. Y'all leave some comment. Let us know what you think about the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council and the way that they have been dragging their feet on this, going on now. It's been going on for 2 years, more than 2 years. We're beyond 2 years.
June 28th, 2022
Yes, we are
is
past.
when I was terminated for at will employment. So we're now what, 27 months?
Yeah.
No, we're 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
September.
Yep. So, yeah, 27 months passed. I don't recall ever it's even seen a full-blown investigation go this long.
I have had
So-
people in training divisions of agencies I've applied to say they've never heard of a file review going past 24 months in the history of the state. Maybe it has, but I was actually tempted one night. I was sitting there and I was thinking about it. And I thought, that'd be public record. I was thinking about doing a FOIA request for every single investigation that Post has ever done to see what the longest one was. Because I'm curious.
Right.
Am I now the record holder?
Right.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Did I just break a record?
Yeah, I don't know. And there might be some somewhere that took longer, but I've never seen one, and certainly not over something as simple as a file review
For an at-will employment.
at will. All right, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for listening to us for a few minutes. We hope to see you back again real soon.